Hey there. I'm going to be working on a 24 by 36 large black canvas today. So I have not been able to do my what I call fluid art on a large scale. I've been doing some pours and other things, but I wanted to do one of my, I don't want to call them feather paintings because I'm going to paint whatever comes to my mind as I paint. I want to be kind of inspired as I go. So I just call it fluid art. It's not, I don't have an idea. I just go with the flow as I paint on the canvas. So I am skimming a pre-bought black canvas that was already purchased black. I'm skimming it with a mixture of 50-50 black paint, DecoArt lamp black with Floetrol, a 1-to-1 ratio. All of my colors are mixed that way. So I've got this skimmed out. I'm going to rinse my tool off and I'll be back. This tool is a pool trowel by Marshalltown, and it is on my Amazon recommended list that will be posted below the video in the comments. So I wanted to show you that. I may or may not use it. I always keep these plastic paint scrapers, and I got a set of 3 for about $3. I'm not sure where the smaller one is right now. I need my credit card though, I'm looking for it. Here's the smaller one. So there's 3 of them. Here's an old store card that I used to do smaller areas where I want more control. I've got a straw. This is like a tool that my grandfather built, but I can't find my skewer either, but it's in case I need to draw a fine line with my paint. I moved my white into another new bottle that has like a really small opening compared to the old bottle. Do you see the difference? I wanted to have a little bit more control, so this is a different style of bottle. Got it at a dollar store somewhere. They all have different versions. These are a dime a dozen. You can find them anywhere. They're probably $1. They're kind of flimsy. I'm not crazy about them, but that's what I have. And some of my bottles are like this that have, it's threaded, so it has a screw-on lid, and these are heavier plastic. They are phenomenal. So I'm going to have a kind of a mixture of colors. I'm going to try to change up my palette color just a little bit instead of doing all rainbow colors. And I'm thinking I may or may not use, this is burnt sienna, and these I use DecoArt, which is in the craft bottles, 2 ounces. You put 2 ounces of this in a cup with 2 ounces of Floetrol, so 1-to-1 ratio. And you really don't have to add water because the consistency is just pretty much almost perfect. And then you add, for 4 ounces of a paint mixture of paint and Floetrol, I put in 3 to 4 drops, so almost a drop per ounce of paint mixture. So then I pour my cup of paint into the squeeze bottle, and then I can control it better. But I'm going to be using jack-o'-lantern orange, burnt sienna, cadmium yellow, true red, the The turquoise is peacock teal. Bright blue, ultra blue deep. But I'm going to try to stay in the warm tones as well. I've got some rich espresso, some copper, some glorious gold. What else? I'm probably going to use dioxazine. Here's the Floetrol, by the way. Here's Floetrol, latex based. Dioxazine purple. So purple, orange, red, yellow, turquoise, blues. If I use a brown, it'll be the dark chocolate, the burnt sienna, white, titanium white. And you can also get white and black and a few of these colors in like 8-ounce bottles. They come larger, you know, because I use white like crazy. And the reason I put the canvas this way is because my table has the camera and everything on it, so I cannot put the canvas this way. So I have to do it lengthwise this way. Some people have asked me about that. It's the only way I can turn it on my table that I have enough space. Once I get a studio and have bigger space and, you know, better equipment, I'll switch out and do both ways. I'm going to put on my gloves to protect my hands from the colors, because I always have dry hands, and when they're dry then the paint gets in all the cracks and under your fingernails and it's a mess. So I put my black on and it's already drying, and that's okay. I don't care. It's just a skim coat basically. You know, purple is the color of the year and I love purple, so I'm going to start with that. And I'm just going to take it from here. All my colors also have the silicone mixed in, and a touch of water if I need it. But the metallics have water in it, but the colors don't really have much water at all, because the DecoArts in the 2-ounce bottles are pretty fluid. They're made for crafters. So they're not considered artist grade paint that artists would use in a studio. I like them because they're fluid, and fluid acrylic paints are very expensive if you buy them specifically made that way. Also, I have damp paper towels that I've always got it on hand. I love that. I'm just going to add a hint, a little thin line of red. So I have 2 lines, and You have to kind of think ahead and plan which direction you want your colors to flow. And these paints actually sit in these bottles for weeks at a time. So you don't always have to mix them fresh. I have added color to some of them that where the bottles were low, but it's not necessary to have freshly mixed paint every time. I just continue to add the color to the bottles with the Floetrol and silicone straight into the bottle. I wipe off my tools every time I scrape as well. And well, it's not really scraping, it's swiping, but I pretty much would love to use the rainbow colors every time I swipe, but I try to, I do try to switch up and do something different every time so that they're not all the same. So I'm going to try to turn this one on an angle here. So for this direction I turned the canvas. So like that. I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to do brown. My brown got stuffed up there, and so I'm just taking a little of it off. Which is fine. I'll put a little purple back. Sienna. Just a thin line of red. Orange. yellow. I'm not even going to mess with that. Some white there. So I'm not crazy how the canvas did that there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back . Put my purple there. Add a little bit more white. So I just do a fresh sweep. And I'll use and when I skim this and swipe it, I'm using a very light touch. It's almost like parallel with the surface of the canvas. And I'm not pressing down hard at all. And I wanted this to stop kind of a little bit short of not overlapping this feather as well. A little bit more sienna. This one I'll use. Actually, I may use the credit card, I think. This didn't do too well, so I'm going to redo it. As long as you're skimming and not pressing down super hard, you're colors should not muddy up. Try this one. So I like the feel of that. So I'm going to redo this area right here. Use this medium-sized one. So if you have a drip that you don't like, you just, wipe it off a bit. Go back and blend in your black and Floetrol mixture. I am not keen on trying to get it to look perfect. That's the thing about art, is it's not perfection. It is hand done, and you shouldn't expect it to look flawless, in my opinion, because that's what makes it hand painted feeling. I think I want to bring this up over this one just a little bit. Oh, see, that's just being careless and not holding on to your bottle. You do have to try to control what's coming out. And if you let it tilt over and just fall out, then obviously something like that is going to happen, So I've got a lot of paint in this area. Hopefully it'll work. So I'm wiping off these drips right here. And the paint is still wet, the black paint, so I just basically am rubbing it in. And I want a few twigs, dashes, or whatever. I don't have any picture in my head. I just want some extra vividness of color. So I think I'm going to try some gold. A little bit of purple. So here I'm just going to kind of work it into the fluidness of the cells so it doesn't have a like a stopping point. How it just kind of blends in. So like the purple blends into the orange, and then the orange blends into the gold. And then, you know, so there you have. Oh, and I also have some copper. Okay, so this, that didn't come out like I expected. I'm wiping this off. Put my gold back because I messed it up. Just put 2 lines down here. This is called, you know, this is kind of abstract, so it doesn't have to be. So I'll just put these little puffs of copper. This is one of these, you can buy a set of 3 of these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. They're called writers, and you put your paint in there. But with it being metallic, you know, it doesn't always perform like you want it to when it's fluid, because you have to mix it with more, you know, water and, you know, that kind of thing. So actually I like these to have points to them. Trying to decide if I just want to leave it be or add a little bit more. I'm coming in on this purple because it is so dark. So almost like a highlight, not necessarily, but just want it to help the purple out a little bit more so it's a little bit more visible. So what I'm doing is adding a little bit of gold on top of the copper color. My gold got stuck on me again. Whew. Trying my patience. See, I had a blob in it, that's why. So, just something on top of the copper color to give it a little bit more oomph. So now we'll come back, and that heat is what kicks in, and if you hear a background noise, that's my heat. It's unfortunately right beside the room that I work in, and unless I have no heat or air on, you're going to hear it kick in and out, so I apologize for that. And see, I dripped, and it's okay. I'm not even going to worry about that. I like that. Pretty much, I do. I'm going to see if I can lightly skim where I added the white back. Just flattening that down a bit there. See, for the most part, you don't see the black popping through. The only place is right there, and I don't know if that's the purple or the black, and it kind of did the lacing or cells, and you know, when typically it's more of a white because I'm swiping with the white. But that's okay because that just makes it look like shading. Here, you can see down to the bare canvas. That way I just covered it up a little bit. There's a little hole there, and that's okay. I'm gonna leave that. I'm wondering. Putting a hint of yellow. So it almost kind of looks like a highlight. That makes that just pop a little bit more. Okay, I think I am done. Just going to touch up the edges where the little bit of fingerprints might be where I've turned the canvas or something like that. That's with gloved hands, that's kind of inevitable if you've got anything on your gloves. So just covering up any marks that weren't meant to be. And I do let the design drip over the edge. So if the feather goes over the edge or drips over, I leave it, and it does it at the bottom sometimes, sometimes not. That's part, to me that's part of the design, which makes it kind of neat. So this bottom here, the little light on paint. So basically I'm just adding a little drama there at the bottom. So at the end of the video, I will post a picture of the piece dried, and when these black paintings dry, the paint is more vivid when it's wet, and when they dry it dulls down slightly. And what happens is when you put your high gloss varnish back on it after it's dried for multiple days or a week or so, when you put that varnish back on it, it makes the colors pop again. So that's the importance of finishing out your piece with varnish, especially for something like this with all these beautiful cells and things. It just keeps it on the next level of beauty, because you do lose, when your canvas dries, you do lose some of that vividness, and that's what you gain back when you varnish your canvas with a high gloss varnish. So I always recommend sealing it just for that purpose. You don't have to seal it because you're protecting it from dust or anything like that. You're protecting it, which is a good thing, but you're doing it to make it feel more like the original piece when it was wet. That's what that gloss does, is it makes it feel that way again. I'm going to bring it up a little bit, but not a whole lot, because I don't want to risk tilting or doing anything to change it. But so here's this corner, and then you see that, and there's that. Okay, I hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for following me on my journey. I can't wait to show you more things.